Hey guys, welcome to another hobby hump day. Well, year, right? New year, right? Happy
New
New Year
year. I can't
to the
believe it's
cartoon.
2025.
Yeah. um, yeah, out with 2024. Hope it was good for everyone in the hobby. And now we have a new year to look forward to. How about you, John? You looking forward to this year?
Yeah, yeah. I don't really make a big deal about the new year. I mean, it takes a little time to get used to saying the new year, right? Like for work or whatever. But
Right.
I'm not one to make New Year's resolutions or anything like that. I always view that as kind of like procrastinating, right? Like what if I want to do something in October, I'm going to do it in October. I don't want to wait. When I go to the gym in January, it's loaded up. You can't even get on a machine.
Right.
By mid-February, it's all open up again.
Yeah, no, I don't have any. I mean, I tell myself I want to work out again, but getting back into the motion and breaking in those muscles, oh my God. Every time I try 3 push ups, it's like, that's it, I quit.
Yeah, I mean, I work out on a regular basis. I had taken like 3 weeks off trying to lose a little bit of weight because it's
Uh,
really hard. Unless you're on steroids, it's really hard to lose weight and work out at the same time because you get so hungry. So I trimmed down a little bit, and that now I started back up. But when you work out a lot, you just kind of pick it up where you left off. You don't get the too much of the soreness or anything like that.
my thing
But
is
I,
when I get sick and I get a flu or something and it knocks me out for a week or two, getting
yep,
back revved up is the hard part because you notice you went down 15 pounds or something and it's like deflating and you got to start up and the muscles hurt again and those are the times where I give up sometimes.
it can be hard, but I tell you, when I'm down and out with like, I'm fortunate. I've never had anything wrong with me. Thank God. I'm lucky. But I've always gotten a lot of colds. Not so much since I left Pittsburgh. I used to get like two a year in Pittsburgh. Now I get them once in a while. But I'm kind of the opposite. I can tell I'm getting better because I get an appetite back and I get energy and I can't wait to go somewhere. And I
Right,
can't wait to get back in the gym.
right,
Probably go back too soon.
right. So I guess like the title says, hobby new year, hobby hump new year. You say you don't have any resolutions, but does your do you try to incorporate new ways of collecting based on the climate changing the previous year, or maybe you scratched off a few checklists and now you're looking forward to new checklists? Like, is this 2025 going to bring upon like a new hobby way of collecting for you?
No, I don't really. I'm not a planner when it comes to my collecting. Like collecting is my hobby. I do it for fun and relaxation. Um, my hobby tastes change. I get into this mode and into that mode. I always compare it to kind of listening to music. Like I'll get into a classic rock mode. Maybe I'll get into a jazz mode, uh, R&B mode, whatever, for a while,
Right,
and keeps things new and interesting. Because I collect modern too, there's always something new to collect that way. And then
right,
there are always sets I'm adding too, always cards I'm on the hunt for. I have watch lists and that kind of thing.
right,
But I'm not, I hear every year you hear the hobby goals and you hear people who change because the hobby changes. And I've always, before YouTube, collected in obscurity and just got what I wanted by the rookie cards I like, by the cards I like. And I really don't let all that other noise dictate to me.
right,
Um, a lot of things I got in the past weren't really wanted by the hobby, and now they're, super desired. Things change. So I think if you just collect what you enjoy, you never know. Now we're going back, and PSA tens of 1986 tops are selling for thousands of dollars. And we all have boxes of these or complete sets right out of the packs or right out of the boxes. I don't know how many would grade a 10, but if you go on to Craigslist back in the day, or probably now too, everybody has stacks of unopened 80s stuff in their garage piled high, but
right.
nobody was, you know, I mean, they weren't worth anything. So nobody was dumb enough to spend the money to grade them all. But now that they're selling for thousands of dollars, you could bet your ass people are going to start grading them. And what's that going to do to the pop reports? I'd be
Yeah,
afraid to be paying $4,000 for a 1986 Topps 10. I know it's a tough set with the black borders and all, but it wasn't as tough as some other sets.
right.
You know, I have cards that when I look at them, they look perfect. I don't know.
Well, I don't.
I've never sent in an 80s card to be. Oh no, I take that back. I sent one 80s card to be graded years ago, when I did a little grading years ago, and it was an 86 classic Barry Bonds, and it got a
uh,
10. It got a 10 from my childhood.
Oh my gosh. I don't set out to collect PSA 10s. I was talking with Dylan yesterday and we're talking about PSA 10s. I just wanted to look nice. If it's a 5 that looks like a 10, even better because I don't got to bust a bank. That's what Dylan was saying.
Dude, I could care less if my cards are 10 or not. I mean,
Right,
nobody could tell the difference between a 9 and a 10 anyway.
right.
I don't understand paying 4 or 5 or 6 or $7,000 more for a 10 over a 9 when you can't tell the difference. Um, and man, I saw this video where a guy was he was showing rare cards, the 25 rarest cards of the 80s. So I had to click on it out of curiosity.
Uh-huh.
And you know, there was 30, 40, 50, 60,000 cards and only 1,000 were graded a PSA 10. And he was calling those rare.
Oh my
It was all based on the PSA 10 count.
oh my
And
gosh.
it just the modern hobby, it just blows me away. I don't get it, but whatever. It's not my money.
I
I
know,
certainly
right?
wouldn't be spending that.
I mean, my friend gave me a card today. Where did I put it? There's I think I shared it with you in a text, a Bo Jackson upper deck and a
Oh
PSA.
yeah, yeah.
So out of curiosity, I decided let me check what the pop report is on this thing. It's like 300 and change that are graded PSA 10s.
It's absurd. How could you ever afford to put the set together?
Oh my god, it's a $50 card and it's
I know.
going up.
I mean, I have the complete set plus lots and lots of doubles.
Right.
Had it forever, right? You know, right out of the packs. I don't know. I'm sure there's many thousands of people like me who never once thought to send them all in for grading. But I think that's going to change. If I could sell them for 4,000, you bet your ass I'm going to do it.
You're gonna become like Rick the Flipper.
I mean, why wouldn't you take advantage of these people that are paying these kinds of prices? I don't mean take advantage of them in a bad way, but if they want them and they're doing the set registry and they're willing to pay that,
Right,
you know,
right,
they know what they're doing. You're not getting over on them. They want
right.
them. They want the you know the only thing important to them is that number. If I could provide that and make $4,000 a card, why not?
Jesus, I can't imagine spending $10,000 for a PSA 10 and a card that you could find in a 10-cent bin.
I
Like
mean,
it,
I'm buying these rare Mickey Mantles and Babe Ruths and stuff for a fraction of what they're paying for a 10 and an 86 tops. It just blows my mind. Now, I understand what's important to somebody else might not be important to me, and vice versa. I
right,
get that. It's just like the whole climate has changed. When
right.
you see when you see guys who haven't even done anything yet selling for tens of thousands more than Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, and you know these guys that are the some of the greats of all time, and they haven't even done anything yet because you're prospecting them, and because it's a 10 on the slab, it just blows my mind.
I mean,
And here's the thing: I think like newer collectors view vintage numbers the same way they view modern numbers. You know what I mean by that?
no, what do you mean?
I
Break it
mean,
down.
you know, if it's a Babe Ruth 3, it's junk because it's a 3. Um, and so they'll pay up for a 8610 more than a Babe Ruth and a 3 because they're viewing that number the same no matter whether it's a 30-year-old card, a 70-year-old card, or whether it was out of a pack today. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like we have the same grading scale no matter what era of card.
Well, I
It's
mean,
1 to 10.
there's some people that are appreciating modern, vintage. Like I did a show this past weekend. And there's a guy that had like a book bag full of like PSA 10s. He happened, let me see. I think I got a few of his cards I picked up. Yeah, he had a Kobe Bryant and a PSA 10.
Mhm.
And there was another Kobe Bryant in there and a few PSA 10s. It was all PSA 10s. And he was trading them for Mickey Mantles and Roberto Clementes and all these vintage cards. And I had to ask him, I was like, so what is it? You found a new way to collect? He's like, nah, man, like this just doesn't do it for me anymore. Like I see these vintage cards are a lot more stable, and this is what's good to invest your money in. So I'm gonna start collecting all this vintage stuff. So I have an appreciation for it. And then one of my cases was full of that stuff. So he was just like, and you got like all the cards I wish I had. So I went through all his stuff he brought. He had nice stuff, like probably like $3,000 or $4,000 worth that I would have probably been able to liquidate real quick. But I just didn't feel comfortable taking in 4,000 worth of like modern and giving them a good meaty, vintage card for that same price. It just felt weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has what's important to them and what they collect. Many modern collectors don't want vintage at all. Many vintage collectors don't want modern at all. So it's
Right.
just a matter of your personal preference. And hey, if you're a modern collector, you're going to pay up for those, the modern players. I get that. We did too back in the day.
I mean,
Every era paid for the modern players. I mean, we chased the Don Mattingly rookie card, the Michael Jordan rookie card back in the day. It's just they weren't worth what they don't sell. They didn't sell for what they are today, and we
right.
didn't have to worry about what number was on the slab. We didn't worry about comps or any of that. It's a whole new game now.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate modern too. I was talking to Dylan so much about the modern cards that we like and the parallels we're chasing. And you saw he put out a bounty because he needs help getting the low
Yeah,
number Mickey Manos that he's
I was
looking
cracking
for.
up.
Yeah, so I had to call him about that. I was like, "How serious are you about this?" He was like, "Very serious." And then I was like, "Well, if someone brings some rare Mickey Mantle modern cards, I'll hit you up. I'll pick them up for you or whatever." And we just, me and Dylan, we could talk for an hour, and sometimes we have to get off. But like modern cards are so cool, but you just gotta find like that little avenue which really stokes your fire. But I mean, here's a modern card that I wouldn't trade for the world. Let me put myself up real quick. And it's a Jim Thorpe relic game used from like the 1900s,
Oh,
basically, when
cool.
he was ruling the sport. How else
Nice.
would I ever have a chance to pick up anything of Jim Thorpe? He doesn't have any cards back then. So to have something like this is like,
Well,
speaks
he
to me
does have
so much.
cards. You just can't. You're probably not willing to pay the prices for them. I mean, he
I
has
mean,
that. What is it? The M101. He has
the
a card
M,
in the teens,
yeah.
and then he has a cheaper card, more affordable. I should say.
What is it?
The
The All
the
American or
the
something like that?
Fatima team
Okay.
card, and then he has the 33 Diamond Kings.
He's
And it's funny. I'll see people say they'll show the 55 All American and call it his rookie card.
Yeah.
Like, in what world is that his rookie card? He has several cards before that.
Well, I mean, I love modern. I really enjoyed talking with Dylan yesterday about modern. And I mean, even you pick up modern all the time, but you don't showcase it as much as the vintage stuff.
I have tons of modern. I'll show some now. The thing is I don't know what to say about them. I mean, they produce so many cards, and there's the discos that I love, and you have this refractor and this colored refractor, and the MLB refractor, and man, I don't even know all the different names. So it's just so hard to follow. I'm not that knowledgeable, so I just basically pick up the cards that I like, and I
Right.
show them. I don't show them all. I'll show them here and there, but I don't really have anything to say about them. With vintage, uh, what I really love is I get so many comments saying, "I've never seen that set before. I'm on eBay right now looking for one. Thanks for the history lesson. I never knew about this set. I never knew about this player." It's hard to do that with modern, even though just about anything you show, there's going to be lots of people who never saw it before because there's 5 million different sets and different parallels and everything. Today, it's just a different animal.
Right. So, like, go ahead, show off some of that modern, man. Let's see
Well, I've
some.
been picking up some. I only have a few laying around here. I only have a few, but I've been picking up some Caitlin Clark.
Oh, nice.
I have a good bit of her now. And how about this guy, Brock Bowers? He just broke the single season. Well, he broke the touchdowns by a tight end record by a
Hmm.
rookie. By a rookie, he broke Mike Ditka's record.
Right,
Now, granted, Mike Ditka only played in 14 game seasons.
right.
Um, and it's like I always say, when they added games, they did away with all the old records. No old guy will ever hold a record ever again because these guys play more games.
Of
But
course.
I picked him up. He's a talented young tight end. I got this
Uh,
disco
oh,
of
wait, what grade is that?
ha.
Don't show me the card if you're not gonna tell me the grade.
These are all mint, man. They're brand new cards. JJ Watt disco,
Oh,
cool
that's
card.
beautiful.
I got this. I love these clear visions. I got Burrow here.
Oh,
You know,
that's
they're clear. I love these
yeah.
cards, and
That's
I
a
love the canvas too. And I got this refractor with Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, when's this from? Back in the. Oh man, I need my glasses. It's too small. But it's a really cool one. I mean, the two best players of the day. Come on,
Of course, that is
non
really
pitchers
nice.
anyway. So I pick up things like that, and then I showed this today. Bell Brand Duke Snyder.
Yeah, definitely.
This is one of the short prints, and I picked up this 1954 to 56 spick and span Hank Aaron.
Woo! That one's fire.
Yeah, so I have this is the kind of stuff I pick everything up. I got this Willard's Willard's chocolate Sam Rice.
That's beautiful.
These are pretty scarce.
That's a stoic,
I got
stoic
a
look.
Venezuelan Alkaline 64.
Oh, that's sweet.
The beautiful Venezuelan back.
Well, that'll grade high. No paper loss, no staining, no glue.
Yeah, it has a little crease through it though. It wouldn't grade high, but it is rare. It does have just a little bit here, but a much cleaner back than most. I got
Course.
this TJ Watt, and this is awesome because it's in the kind of gold. It's what do they call it? I don't know. It's the gold version, but it's a disco.
Oh, nice.
I love the color match with the uniforms. This is orange more than gold, but close enough. I don't think they make yellow, but that's a
That
cool
is
one.
sweet.
I got that, that next to the JJ Watt. I can have them argue like brothers. And then because I get the so with my Caitlin Clarks, I just got an Angel Reese, and then I make them fight. Josh Jacobs, I think he's a fabulous running back. I got this really cool ticket here.
He's so
Refractor.
underrated too.
Man,
He
he's
doesn't get the love.
fantastic.
Right.
I've watched several of his games, and he looks great. And then I got this Barry Bonds, and he was the first one to have over 600% on base percentage, and this honors that. And this is a refractor.
Oh, that's sweet.
I love me some refractors, man.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I get a little triggered when people I don't know, they criticize me, the vintage guys, and they don't understand modern or whatever. They try to separate us all the time. But I collect everything. I collect modern. How about this? This is an underrated football player, man. Bobby Mitchell. He was a running back, halfback, then they moved him to flanker.
That is sweet.
63 Fleer.
I love that one.
Great set.
Yeah. Wow.
Great set.
Showing some fire. I'm gonna bring you out now because we got another misfit here that joined us. Hey,
Awesome.
Rick, how you doing?
Good, man.
Rick the Flipper.
Rick the
Hey, you
Flipper.
guys, I just picked up. I'm going to flip this. It's a 1985 McGuire PSA 10. And what's interesting about it, it's an empty slab, but it's going to go for $3,400.
And you know what? You're probably right.
Right there. See that,
That's
baby?
all that matters.
PSA 10. You see them in there?
Well, I can see the
It's going to go for
impression.
$3,400. You know why? Because that's what the label says. PSA 10.
You could just hand write a card, hand draw it, and put it in there.
Yeah. If as long as it says PSA 10, it's $3,400.
I know.
We collect slabs now. We collect numbers, not cards.
I'm sorry. Did I start off in a bad note here?
Rick, I asked John, I asked him, does he have any New Year's resolution? I'm asking you, do you have any New Year's resolution or where you're going to shift with the hobby based on the last year or two?
I'm going to be kinder.
Kinder?
I'm too grumpy. Not on my videos, but on text messages.
Oh my gosh. On the
I'm
comments?
just old. When you get my age, I don't know what it is. I'm low key. I've been low key all my life, kind of a shy guy. I let whatever my friends argue about whatever they're arguing. I'm in the background. Now you get my age and everything's like, stay off my lawn. I don't know what it is.
You got to take that eugenics. That's what it is.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
You do. You know what? I think, Rick, it's not that, and I hate that term, stay off my lawn, but I think what it is really is two things. Number one, you get cynical because you've seen all the scams, all the TV commercials, all the infomercials over the years. You've seen all, just everything. And you're educated and you're experienced and you've just seen it all before. And I find that I'm cynical. Like every single ad I see, I'm cynical of. And I'm cynical of anybody telling me they can make me a quick buck or they can grow my portfolio or whatever. Like I'm cynical of anybody trying to sell me something. And the other thing is you just don't care as much. You could say what you want. Who gives a shit? Like I don't, you're not, you know what I mean? We're getting to the twilight of our lives, and life's too short.
Yeah, I don't know. I just grew up in a different time when it comes to collecting, and I see these things where, like I don't know what it was, but it was remember it was I commented on a show, and this modern collector is pumping up these PSA 10 cards, and I made a comment like the hobby is, I don't know what I said. The hobby was a disaster. Modern hobby is a disaster.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't mean to know so much about him. And it's just everything that's going on, all the scamming, all this, that, and everything else. And I'm basically saying, sure, it went on when I was this guy's age. Okay. But cards weren't thousands of dollars. So there's a lot more people when money's involved to do stupid things in the hobby. Of course, there was people, doing crazy things, but some of these people, collect what you want. Okay. And maybe I collect these strip cards that could be $1,000. It's just a freaking cutout off a sheet. And people probably think, what the hell are you doing? I'm sure my wife would say that. It doesn't even look like the player. And it's a couple, 1,000, Ruth or whatever. And it's 1,000, 2,000, whatever it is. And modern collectors probably saying the thing about me, but I'm collecting it. I'm not buying just the slab, not the gray. I don't care about the gray, but it is people buying. Like another guy on the show, John was on at that time. I'm sure he was biting his lip, and I don't remember the two cards, but there was two cards. One was a higher grade, like 2 grades higher. And the host said, which one do you prefer? And this one guy says, well, I prefer the higher grade one. And we're thinking, God, the higher grade one's all faded out, whatever. It doesn't even look.
And it was thousands more.
Difference.
Thousands.
And he still preferred the higher grade one. And that guy is not a collector. If he was a collector, he would, buy or whatever, prefer this other one.
Well,
so
I think, most collectors want the best looking copy they can get for the right amount of money. Some people have unlimited money, but to pay up for a lesser looking card is I don't personally get that. But like we say, the number is all that matters these days. People buy numbers now.
Yeah. And I don't think, hey, I mean, there's people, I flip cards, I'm going, what the hell? I'm selling these 60s cards, PSA 9s for I'm thinking incredible money, thinking so, but
Yeah, tell us about that strategy, because I'm sure that there are probably going to be a lot more collectors who are doing what you're doing. I'm actually considering it because there's just so much money to be made and so many cards I'd rather have. So tell us what you're
yeah,
doing, because you're doing real well with it and picking
yeah,
up
and I don't have
some
anything,
big cards.
we have a friend, we have a misfit that does it part-time. He's two misfits. They're part-time dealers, right? And
Three.
so,
You got to include yourself.
well, not like a couple others of you, but no, I'm just saying that's perfectly fine. And I would, if I was doing that, you guys are collectors, but you're buying maybe you see a higher grade card, and you buy it, and you're going to probably sell it for more. You're not there just to, hey, I want a PSA 10 1998 Michael Jordan, because I'm not going to, but you're going to probably buy it to resell it, or if you already have it, I don't know. But I'm just saying, my thinking is I had these cards that, let's say, a football card, a Jimmy Johnson football card, a PSA 9, a 1969 or whatever it was. And it was a PSA 9. And I could buy one for $1 or maybe $5 or $10. That looks really good, but it's not a PSA 9. And so here I'm selling, I don't know what it was, a couple $100, for a PSA 9. I'm thinking every day, because I can still own the card, a good looking card. It doesn't have to even be in a holder. So why,
So how many cards
I can own the same
have you
card.
sold like that?
And what am I going to do with it? I mean, it's a PSA 9. It looks great. I have one that's maybe a PSA 4 or whatever. You can't, might be something on the back or whatever. Looks great. Color might be the same and everything else. And it's for $10. So what do I need this PSA 9 for?
And you're selling kind of commons, right?
Yeah, commons. Anything, baseball commons, PSA 9 common, guys that are not even I don't even recognize.
Because see,
my
right
Giants.
there, you're not buying the card or the player.
Yeah.
You're buying the number on it.
You're buying the number, which is, I mean, like I said, I don't know.
Well, because it's PSA rare, right?
Yeah. And I'm coming from a collector's point of view. I'm flipping them or I'm selling them, and other people buy and sell them.
So there's
like George. I learned from George, our misfit. At the National, he has these high grade. I say, hey, George, what do I get? What can I get for these? I got a bunch of PSA 9 cards. Rick, you should, man, sell those things. Sell those things. There's money in it.
Scott's looking for a PSA 9 Don Massey.
There we go.
Of course he is.
George is, he's total collector, but he's smart enough to realize, hey, people are buying these things, so I'm going to buy them to resell them, at higher, that type of thing.
I brought that question up. I can't remember if I did a video or we were on a live, but I brought that question up. At what point, like when cards get worth so much money, at what point, even if you're a collector, do you not sell some stuff? Because it's just selling for such outrageous amounts of money.
I showed you the card today. I have a 52 Monty Irvin.
Yeah.
PSA 8.
Yeah, it'll sell for a fortune.
Top of 27.
You got to trade me that one for the Bo Jackson.
It's going for like about 2,500 right now.
That's it?
I bought it for 500 maybe.
I would think it would go for way more than that, Rick. Are you sure? Huh? Are you sure that's all it goes for?
I don't know. I went the last one it sold was in February, so it's been whatever. I guess it just depends when, I don't know, what it looks like or whatever, but anyway, it's just crazy money when I can own one. I can own a nice one for maybe $50,
I gotta
ask $75 or
I gotta ask you both as collectors. Like, I guess I'll start with John. Like, lately, because of the holidays, I've seen prices dropping dramatically. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I am comping stuff left and right, and they're not worth the same like they were in October and even a little bit into November. They've almost dropped in some cases half. And I'm like shocked because they're like strong cards. And I'm like,
James,
why is
never sell around Christmas ever. I've been buying up dream cards because nobody's bidding on them. My offers are being accepted. I've been buying dream cards left and right in December. And like I'm probably done now. But I went on a spending spree November and December because that's the best time my entire collecting life. That's the best time to buy and the worst time to sell. Everybody's spending money for the holidays. They're traveling. They're doing other things. Many people are on vacation. You know, it's the same in the kind of in the stock market. Like the volume is so low because everybody on Wall Street's on vacation. So it's hard to get a gauge of the market at that time. You're coming to the end of the year, and you know the Santa Claus rally and all the repositioning and everything. But it's really hard to get a feel for the market at that time. And I think it's the same with sports cards. If we're talking selling and prices, I think it's hard to gauge it. However, you know, I have noticed before that time prices coming down. So we'll see, like as we get into the new year, get into spring, we'll see if they pick back up or if they, you know, if they stay down or continue down, then we'll know that that's probably a trend. But I wouldn't make a big deal about it over the holiday.
Which ones are you saying that are 50% or 25% down? What are you talking about? Modern,
so no,
vintage, or
like, there's some cards, not every card. There's some cards that have gone up. Like recently, I listed a card, the Robin Yount Mini, in like 8, I think it was. That thing went from like 250 to 325. And I was like, wow, I guess some cards aren't, you know, they're not safe from plummeting. Others go up. But there are other cards that they're strong cards, but they're not worth as much as they used to be. And I'm like shocked because they're either like some of the greats or a solid name or it's a high grade and they're just lower. And I'm happy because I'm buying at the shows and I'm able to buy them for less money. And people can't argue with me. I'm showing them comps. I'm not lying to them. And we do the deal for a lot less than they anticipated. And hopefully, to what John said, it'll bounce back up and I'll make triple my money or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if it will or won't. I'm not making any predictions. What I'm saying is, as we get, you know, more into spring, I think then you can gauge the market better. You can never gauge it over the holiday. Now, you talk about Robin Yount. I mean, for whatever reason, that guy has always been underappreciated, undervalued, in my opinion. I mean, the only one that pays up for that is Dylan. So I don't know if that's the best player to comp, because that card's always blown my mind that it didn't sell for more, you know, my whole life.
Judge Brett is always double over Robin Yount.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I have a 1975 set in like an EX to mint shape. Like they would grade probably in between a 5 to like a 7. And I still don't have the Robin Yount center. And they always, you know, like that card goes for like 280-ish, you know, give or take on the centering. But if it's dead nut centered, it's like 350. And I'm still trying to get it around like 2 to 250, and I just can't. But my 1975 will never be complete without that damn George Brett in like a good 6 to a 7. And it is what it is. It's a strong card.
Hey, James, when you're selling like a PSA 9 or 10, probably PSA 10s, do the people say that this is for their set registry, or what? Are they buying it to flip it back or keep it, or what's their, if it's a higher, more of expensive card, what are they doing? I mean, just collecting it, or?
Yeah, they're like I met a gentleman that bought 2 strong cards. He just bought the Mickey Mantle rookie from someone, and then he bought a Mickey Mantle from me. And he just whipped out 100. Like he had a big bag with hundreds in there, and he just started peeling off. And I asked him, I was
kind of like John,
huh? Yeah,
kind of like John.
Yeah, just like me.
So I asked him, so what are you doing, a Mickey Mantle run? And then he was like, no, I just feel like investing in vintage makes more sense than modern. So I'm getting off the modern train, and I'm putting my money into vintage. So it seems like he never collected vintage, and now he's going after the name he knows, Mantle, and then he'll probably get Jackie Robinson, Willie Mays, and others in the future. But that's what he just came to the show with probably 10 or 20,000, and he was trying to pounce on as many Mickey Mantles as struck his fancy.
Yeah, I view, if we want to talk about selling and flipping and all that, I view modern cards as kind of day trading in the stock market, and vintage cards, and about 5 to 10% of the best modern cards, best players, as your long-term investments that will go up over time. But they'll go up more slowly, where if a player wins a Super Bowl, quarterback wins a Super Bowl, it could go way up overnight with modern cards, and you're never going to have that with vintage cards.
Right.
The only time we've really seen that is if some documentary comes out. Like if they came out with a documentary on Larry Doby and told his story, you can bet those cards are going up overnight. Just the Michael Jordan cards went through the roof after the documentary.
Right.
And some of the other players in there.
Yogi Berra documentary. A lot of people love Yogi Berra cards now.
Yeah.
And they want to work on his run all of a sudden.
And it makes sense. There are a lot of young people that might not know who Larry Doby is, or didn't really know much about Yogi Berra. Or, if they're young enough, they didn't even really know that much about Michael Jordan, probably. So, it's that fame. Like you take, what's his name? Connors. What's his first name? The rifleman.
Oh, Chuck Connors.
Chuck Connors.
Okay.
So Chuck Connors had one at bat in the major leagues, but he's in that Mother's Cookie set, and it sells for a fortune. He wasn't even a good baseball player, but he was famous.
How about
Dwayne The Rock
brothers?
Johnson? His college football card sells for a fortune. He never stepped on a professional field, but because of the fame. So that's what I'm saying. If once they become famous through a documentary, people learn about them.
Right, and
then they could go up.
The Menendez brothers has a series, and that Mark Jackson card goes up to $20. You could have found that in the $5 box all day long. Get it for $3 to $5. Now they're up to $20 to $25, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This documentary got to that card like that?
Yeah.
And another one is the Billy Ripken FF. Because of Jackson Holiday, that card went up to like $75, and I don't remember it being at 75 for a while. It actually went down sometimes to even $20 at one point. Yeah, so I guess these shows and stuff make cards get in the limelight again. But
getting back to what Rick was, his strategy and so forth. You've seen Adam from Splendid Sports. He's been very outspoken, and he's selling his higher grades that are off center or whatever, and getting better eye appeal lower grades, and selling like a Mickey Mantle, 56 Mickey Mantle and a 6. He'll get a lot of money for that. And you can go pick one up that looks better in a 4 or 3.
Right.
And what do you think? What do you think of that? Because I have a feeling a lot of people are going to do that if these cards continue. If you're able to get this much money for a number.
I had a young kid. He must have been like, he's young to me, but he was like 25. And he goes across my case and he sees a card he purchased already at the show. And he's looking at mine, and because mine was centered and has strong eye appeal, but it was a 2. He looks at mine and he says, I'd like to trade you my 3 for that one. And the 3 was off-centered with snowing on it. And I was like, no, I'm okay. I'd rather have my 2. Even if I give you $50, it's worth more than yours.
That's a trend. You saw that Babe Ruth, that 33 Gaudy Babe Ruth. There was a 2, and it sold for $10,000 more than a 5.
Yeah.
Because it looked better.
There was yesterday a Mickey Mantle, a 52 Mickey Mantle, and an authentic altered that sold for like $35,000 because it looked nice, even though it's altered. Like, it's altered, but you're still willing to spend like $40 after taxes. Like, that's crazy.
I mean, let's be honest. A lot of the ones with numbers on are altered too. You just don't know it.
Oh, come on.
So what's the difference?
Let's not enter the new year being so cynical, John. Come on, man.
I'm just being real, just being honest.
Rick's cards are all trimmed. That's why he's trying to sell them all off now.
Right
So,
there,
Rick,
baby.
Oh, wow. Oh, sorry. Wrong button. Nice. Tris speaker.
put them
Look at
both
that,
up. I just
baby.
happen to have mine right next to me. That's so funny you showed
It's
that.
trimmed right there, a little bit right there.
How do I
Mine's not
put
trimmed.
John on right now? Look at that.
Who's got better color? Put that thing on. Okay.
Put us side by side.
Oh my gosh.
Rick's cards suck.
Wait, I might have bad lighting.
I would probably go. I would say they're tied almost.
Yeah, they look about the same. So
Yeah.
right there. So there we go. I'm trying to get it. So
Except Rick spent like $2,000 less than you.
I know exactly.
no, I'll bet you I spent way less than him. I got this years ago.
This thing.
But they both probably
This
have
thing
Kurt's
looks
card
better.
juice on it.
This one, I would say.
What's the back?
I paid. God, what did I pay? I'm saying maybe $600 for
You
this.
paid $600 for that?
600, and it looks, without, I mean, it would go for, who knows? It would grade pretty high. Besides some kid or somebody on the top, right there, not to deceive anyone, because they would have cut it all the way across. But I saved a bunch of money for a great looking card,
Right.
So I'll do that every time. I've changed my mind on trimming. It depends.
Lots of people have.
card.
You see, everybody accepts. I don't want to say everybody, but lots of people accept altered now that didn't used to.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it would bug me more if somebody was trying to deceive someone, but it's just on that corner that somebody just whatever did.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. There's just that A is just so ugly. It would look better in a holder like this.
yeah, there we go. I think it'd look better if it's clear for 3,400.
We should get a bunch of PSA 10 empty holders and sell them for $1,000 a piece. PSA 10s.
I got a PSA 10 for you there.
All right, to be cynical,
Beautiful
I
card.
guarantee you,
Here's another.
if this was a PSA 10 and PSA would accept it, some guy would pay up for this thing right here just so it made it on the registry, even though there's no card in it. What do you think? What's the chances of somebody paying big money for that if it made the registry?
You know what would be a fun exercise is to go and see what people pay for PSA 10 checklists of 1970s and 80s cards.
There's people that sell like sets in all nines, and they fetch serious money, like at the REA auctions and stuff like that. It's serious.
Well, wouldn't it cost you like $10,000 to grade the average top set? Just to grade it.
But they cherry picked. They cherry picked the nines when they came up. They overpaid for them because they just needed the card so badly to make the set whole. And eventually, when they sell them off, they get big bucks, man. I mean, in some cases, it doesn't pay because, like you said, what did you pay to get a lot of them graded? Like, you don't get that money back per se. But in other cases, like if it's a 9 or a 10 and they advertise it like the only 10 in the world, those get major boku dollars.
Well, there's a lot of people today that have just like, I don't care money,
Yeah.
And that's who you're selling to, or somebody who thinks it's an investment.
Well, or Rick's money,
Yeah, Rick's
Well,
money.
a lot of those big sales are flippers selling to each other. Most people don't pay that. Most collectors don't pay
somebody's probably in the chat that has a VCP. Have them look up a checklist, like a PSA 9, 66, 65, 64, whatever, PSA 9 checklist and see what it goes for in a PSA 9.
I'm sure it's at least hundreds, if not
I
thousands.
never looked, but that's interesting.
For which card?
Whatever checklist is on one of the years,
Well, I'll tell you what, if you could get the 63 Fleer checklist in a 10, I'll bet you that's at least probably 30, 40,000 minimum.
So 63 Fleer in baseball?
63 Fleer in baseball. That checklist is super tough and super hard to find in nice condition.
I'm looking it up right now.
I'll
But
bet
the
it goes
60,
if
a
they even if there
67
even
high
is a
number
10.
checklist. 67
Even-
high number checklist would be pretty good too. But anyway.
Well, the
So that
67
one,
checklists have players' faces on them, though. Those
Oh,
would be more
that's
valuable.
true. That's true.
that one averages $3,000. PSA
See?
9 checklist.
I told you. I told you.
$3,000 for a checklist.
Wait, what? In what
That's
grade?
what it looks like.
In what grade?
A 9.
Yeah,
They
I'm
don't
saying
have
a 10.
10s.
I
They don't
bet.
have
Yeah,
no
no
sales
10s.
in a 10.
I guarantee you a 10 would go for at least 30,000, maybe way higher.
It would probably be the only one. I don't
And
know.
I guarantee you something else too. No one can tell the difference between those 9s and that 10.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I want to show you guys some cards I picked up at the show. Check LT autograph.
No, that's sweet.
Nice.
So there's a lady that came up to my booth. She works for TriStar. And she had all these autograph cards. And some of them she wanted a lot. But others like Jim Brown.
Oh my God.
Others
Nice.
were like within the wheelhouse where I felt comfortable paying for them. Ricky Henderson, not here anymore. So she got his autograph when he was still around. And there goes Rick's boy. He has
Oh, there we go.
2 of these.
I have that one somewhere.
Rick, when you sending me that National Bank? Man, shit.
Right in the background here, huh?
The one you snaked from me.
This
Right
is for
there,
Dylan.
baby.
This is for Dylan. He loves Albert Pujols.
He loves all angels.
But this is in the St. Louis uniform. I told him I picked this up. He's like, no, I love Pujols. I'll take him in the Cardinals uniform. I'll stop for now. I don't want to like overtake things.
I have a cool hockey card here. This is Kucherov. Great player. Autographed puck.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
really cool. Any of you guys
Yeah,
have bat knobs? Any of you guys have bat knobs?
I don't, man. I think they're so cool, though. I'd love to have one.
There's a Cepeda on there on eBay that's been there forever. It's like he wants $900 for it. A Cepeda bat knob.
Yeah, you know, Cepeda stuff isn't that easy to move either, surprisingly. Good player. Great player.
I lied. I got one more I want to show you. I just rummaged and I found this one. Travis Kelce rookie auto to 100.
Nice.
So the guy came up to my booth with this and I just had to have it. I almost paid him comps because this is so hard to find in the hundreds that I was like, all right, let's go. We got to make a deal. And it's a PSA 9, so I don't have to pay as much as a 10.
Yeah, but do you have an Eric Lindros rookie?
Oh, there's only about 1 million of those, right?
Not in 10s.
Wow.
I got a couple of them. Maybe, I don't know how much I would sell in a 10. Probably not much.
Yeah, Scott was saying AD has some great bat knobs. Oh, wait, this one. AD,
Yeah, AD has
Vegas.
Yeah, he always picks up those things, man.
Yeah,
He has an insane memorabilia card collection.
I had a conversation with him, and he basically told me how his collection evolved into bat knobs and rare like relics. And it was just basically, it just stoked the fire and it took on a life of its own. And he just thought it was so cool that you could have like something so like different from a card, you know, like a bat knob or something with a weird shape embedded in a card. And he just went all in on all those bat knobs and like the game used uniforms with like the logo on it. Those are so cool too.
Yeah,
And
I got a cool one recently. I want to show Satchel Paige patch, number to 15.
oh, that is so nice.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
That is sweet.
I need to crack it out of here. I don't like that number's distracting. I mean,
It
there's
is
only
kind of
15 of
distracting.
them.
On
Who
that
cares?
one, it is kind of distracting on that one.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 15 of them. Who cares?
This guy's probably gonna piss you off, John, because he broke the record in the 17th.
It doesn't piss me off. It's just sad. It's just sad for the older players.
This one's numbered to 50, but it's not a 10.
Who
So
is
it's
who is
trash.
that? Who is that?
Jamar Chase.
Oh, I just
He's a
picked up a
stud.
few of his rookies.
He's
I
a
just picked up a
stud.
few of his rookies.
I
What
love
record? What
Jamar
record
Chase.
did he break?
I think it was receiving yards for the season or something.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I was doing the show, so I didn't pay
But
attention to
it took him an extra game though, right?
It took him an extra game, but I was working the show and somebody yelled, "Oh, he just broke the record, Jamar Chase! Pick him up, pick him up!"
Did he
And
win the Did he win the Triple Crown? He was winning it going into that game.
he probably won it. Him and Saquon had the seasons of their careers.
Yeah. Well, TJ Watt, I'm a huge fan. And he tied Michael Strahan's record, or did he break it? He broke it. Broke it or tied it for single season sacks. And even Michael Strahan pointed out the fact that he had to do it in, it took him an extra game to do it.
Right. And Strahan he just did it within the time, something like that, right? I forgot what it was with Strahan. They were saying like, it was that the guy laid down for him. He didn't try to like scramble and break the tackle.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's that controversy. They did a 30 for 30. He broke Mark Gastineau's record, I guess.
Right.
And Mark Gastineau says that Brett Favre laid down for him. Yeah.
Did you watch?
But you know what? I want to go back to
documentary?
TJ Watt for a second because I think he missed a game or two that season, which would make that record more impressive.
Really?
I think so, if I'm not mistaken.
I watched the Gastineau documentary, and he saw Brett Favre at like one of those signing shows or whatever. And when he was approaching Brett Favre thought he wanted to like say what's up to him, like an old legend to an old legend. And Brett Favre had a smile on, and he was like, "Hey, what's up?" And Gastineau just railed him. He was just like, "You freaking laid down, and you messed up my record. I don't like you." And Brett Favre was like, looking at him like, what's wrong with this guy? He just walked away looking perplexed.
Yeah, so people, I don't think fans realize the history of the number of games in the NFL. They played 12-game seasons. So, like Jim Brown retired early. He played his first 58, 59, and 60. His first 3 seasons, he played in a 12-game season and still held that record for all that time and retired early. That's how good he was. And then in 1961, they moved to a 14-game season. And like when O.J. Simpson rushed for over 2,000 yards, he's the only one to do it in a 14-game season. No one else did. So when they changed it, went to the 16-game season, what happened? Like 5 guys rushed for 2,000 yards, right? Like it changes everything. It's what I always say about the Mel Blount rule. They try to compare these old receivers. Like, Lynn Swan's my favorite receiver when I was growing up. And people talk smack on him and, Johnny Jefferson's so much better than him or whatever. But John Jefferson played after they changed the rules. That's why he got the rookie record. And he was my second favorite receiver. So this is not a knock on him. I love the guy. He was fantastic. But what I'm saying is they changed the rules, so you weren't allowed to beat up that receiver. Lynn Swan played his first several seasons because that rule was changed in 78 or 79. Lynn Swan came up in 74. He used to get his head taken off when he'd go over the middle. The whole, you could beat that receiver up anywhere on the field. And then they changed it where you could just touch him for 5 yards and have to let him run free. Right. So, of course, the rookie receiving mark's going to go, and all other receiving marks are going to go, and all passing marks are going to fall, right? Because now a quarterback has a huge advantage too. And especially since they did away with the intentional grounding rule, essentially, right? They almost never call that. And that was a big, penalty back in the day.
So does sports suck now compared to when we grew up watching it? Even though the athletes are much more athletic and stronger, like we kind of miss the old ways,
Well, I don't know. Rick, you want to answer first?
Sure.
I didn't want to. I've been talking.
When I saw Ruth play, man, I tell you what, man, you were drinking in the stands, smoking in the stands, making bets in the stands. It was a completely different atmosphere than it is today. I'm telling you right now.
I will say this. You know, I say it all the time. You can't compare eras. There is a lot of great ball that is played today. Um, there are a lot of great athletes, but I'm not of the opinion that they're all better athletes. You know, they do have better probably nutrition, better training, better drugs, better everything. You know, if you gave that to Lou Gehrig, I mean, he would be a beast. If you gave that to Jimmy Fox, he would be a beast. Jim Brown, I mean, Jim Brown was a beast without all that. If they played in this era, they would still be good. I saw some video that said that Babe Ruth would suck if he played today. He couldn't even hit these pitches, and it's just absurd.
Yeah.
Especially if you grew up, you know, if you grew up today, he would be a good ball player. How could he not be?
Right.
But
Babe Ruth would have worked out because
but that
everyone would have been working out.
yeah, but
So
that
yeah, guys.
well, hey, Pujols, how many home runs did he hit? Fat.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he was not exactly the epitome of fit. His last I don't know 7 to 10 years. There are a lot
His
of
last
big
month,
guys.
he
That
had
has
like
nothing to do with it. Big Poppy.
uh,
I mean, what he didn't have a six pack. Like you don't have to be fit
you remember
necessarily to
you
be a
remember
great
Matt
athlete.
Stairs? Matt Stairs, he would have like the ultimate beer belly and he would get up and just hit taters.
Bartola Colon, CC
John Kruk.
Sabathia, they weren't
Pablo
big.
Sandoval.
Yeah, Pablo. Hit it
Willie
off the ground.
Stargell
He would tee
Willie
it off the
Stargell won an
ground.
MVP with a big beer belly.
Yeah.
But anyway, what has kind of see the thing is they make so
That's
much
a few.
money these days. There was just a player for your San Francisco 49ers, Rick, who just refused to play one day.
Oh yeah.
They make so much money that you have to wonder when you see them being a little lazy or giving up on a play or something, you have to wonder, right? They're not if they get fired tomorrow, they're still multi millionaires. In the old days, those guys had to work. They could get cut after any season. They made, 30 grand. They had to have a side job in the off season. If you didn't work, you didn't make the team kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the All-Star game, like baseball All-Star game is still good, but the NBA All-Star game and the NFL Pro Bowl, they're a joke. I mean, just do away with them. Just have a 3-point competition and a slam dunk competition. They're an absolute joke. Nobody plays any defense.
I gotta ask you a question. I know you watch hockey a lot. It seems like baseball, football, and basketball, the three major sports that we watch, analytics has gotten into them. They baby them. They become prima donnas. The rules change so that they could score more. But with hockey, I don't notice that there's like a change. Is there a change with hockey because they still let them fight? There's still goons out there. Is hockey any different? Or like even per se, soccer looks the same to me.
Well, hockey's been changed the least. But for some reason, there's a ton more scoring that happens, which is, not traditional. But all sports have done everything in their power to have more scoring, to be more entertaining. And that's what all the rule changes are about. I mean, in the NBA, it's all uncontested three-pointers or it's dunks. I mean, nobody even tries to defend the three-pointers. And in the old days, that made sense because guys, when they first came out with the three-pointer, guys weren't that good at it. So, yeah, go ahead, shoot from out there. You're going to miss, 80, 90% of the time. So go ahead, take it. But now they're weaned that that's all they practice is those three-pointers. And you see these teams. I was watching a team the other night. Oh, darn it, I forget who it is. But they were given the stats. And it was like when their three-pointers were over 30%, they had a winning record. When they were under 30%, they had a 50-50 record. And when you get into the playoffs and stuff, it's just like the team that's hot at the three-point line wins, period, right? My favorite recent NBA championship was the Spurs in Miami. That game that series fascinated me because the Spurs were playing old-time basketball. They were moving that ball, and they got away from it for 2 games where they stopped doing it, and they lost both games. And then in the final game, they went back to it. and they beat Miami, who, as you know, Miami was packed. That was not an easy team to beat at that time. But I just thought it was brilliant game plan. And it was fun to watch. It was fun to watch them move that ball and find the open guy.
Right. Rick, how do you feel? Like, I know you said you watched Babe Ruth, but realistically, like, how do you feel like from like the 80s and 90s into 2000 before Juice was like rampant? But, how do you feel about it?
Well, I think go back to hockey. I think it's changed quite a bit. When I was a kid, you would have these guys that couldn't skate, and they were total goons. There was a guy on the San Jose Sharks called Link Gates. If you look him up, Link Gates fights against Probert. Man, they were going at it like, and it would be right from the puck, I mean, literally, he couldn't skate, but they would be out protecting their best players. Like Gretzky, for instance, be protecting Gretzky. And these guys couldn't skate at all. And nowadays, they do still fight, but there's ramifications nowadays when you fight. They're going to be out or 5 minute, whatever, So I think it's changed quite a bit. I mean, they're totally more athletic. The defensive, players are offensive basically now. But that's just hockey. That's just me. I'm a novice.
I don't think the defensive players are more offensive than before.
You don't think so?
From my standpoint, I mean, Paul Coffey was a fantastic offensive defenseman.
Yeah.
But back then they even celebrated the goons. They made that movie.
Well, how about Darius Kasparaitis? What a goon he was.
There were some good fights, man. You just look up YouTube,
Larry Robinson
hockey fights. I mean, those guys, the whippy boxers or whatever, man, those guys went at it. Like no one's business.
The thing is you know how athletic you have to be a hockey player. You never see an overweight hockey player ever. I mean, those guys have to be exhausted when they come off the ice. They're all fit. They're just moving nonstop, for the most part.
You know how tough it is to grab a shirt, and you're grabbing the guy's shirt, and you're on ice skates, beating the crap out of him. Yeah.
You're probably right though. They're probably way better skaters in general than
that's like any sport though.
Yeah.
You look at. I showed you that I did. There was a type 1 photo of the Boston Celtics on the Knicks, and they were doing jump ball. And these guys, they looked like they had football gear on their legs, and they're not even bending down to jump. I mean, these guys couldn't. I mean, they couldn't play at all. No, it's just a totally different game. Than what they played back then.
Yeah.
So athletes are so much better.
What I find interesting is, especially in baseball, I'm talking, is for generations, it was rare to see baseball players put on the injured reserve list, right? You never saw baseball players on the IR list every year. You didn't see a pitcher get hurt every single year. Every young pitcher comes up has surgery. And so the irony is the bigger, stronger, better shape, better nutrition, better supplements, whatever, they're getting hurt more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that? I have a theory that they're overtrained.
I think they're just outgrowing their body.
Yeah, the pitchers are. I mean, pitchers are consistently throwing 98 to 100. Right. And the body's just not made for that,
Right. Look how big Paul Skeens is. He's bound to blow up his shoulder this year, right, John?
I hope
John
not.
doesn't want to hear that.
I think there was a recent study that, they recommend pitchers throwing to protect their arm. Not that this is going to happen, but in the low 90s. Don't throw, 100 miles an hour 100% of the time. Be able to pitch other ways, not just throwing that fastball.
Well, there's another paradox, is that the harder the pitchers throw, the higher the scoring is. I mean, it's nothing to see a 10-9 baseball game these days. Well, that was a rarity back. There's a walk-off home run or walk-off hit in every game.
But look at Nolan Ryan. Compare him to today's players. He was just as big as any player out now. He's as big as Shohei Ohtani. He throws 100, but he could throw 200 pitches per game and keep going. Like now it's like right at the 90 pitch mark, you already see the guy going up to start warming up. And it's just like, come on, this guy's cruising. Let him pitch. So they say that the fact that they're not throwing more, they don't help the shoulder get stronger that way. And the only way it gets stronger is if you throw more. But they're bathing them.
How these baseball players, you got guys, they run down, your football players, they're playing with all kinds of injuries, and these baseball players, their hamstrings going out running to first base. It's just like, what the, it's just crazy. All these injuries are just like, are you kidding me?
Just a little word on Nolan Ryan is, he was a big guy, and he could use his body to generate a lot of that power. He's a big Texan, farm boy, and when you have a smaller guy trying to throw that hard, just putting everything into it. When you watch Nolan Ryan, he never looked like he was overexerting himself. He just looked smooth.
Even Verlander or like Garrett Cole, they don't look like they're over, or Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
They're just big dudes. Yeah.
Well, the thing about Paul Skeens that even though he could throw that hard is he rarely throws a fastball. He throws that splinter, man. He throws a lot of junk, and then he'll come high with the heater after you chase a couple, and it's just not even fair. Because he has you chasing that splinter, and then he comes high with the heater, and it's not even fair. Those guys aren't even close to the ball. But he doesn't throw that many fastballs, believe it or not. He's not like Chapman.
Will we ever see another Greg Maddux? Like someone that can paint?
If they're smart, they'll probably have their arm intact. They'll have a full career. Because, throwing in the modern baseball, I don't care if you throw 150, these batters, once they get used to it and they get their timing down, they're hitting these guys. Tell me, Chapman gets shellacked. He's throwing 104 miles an hour. So to me, it makes more sense to be more like Maddux. Not everybody can be Nolan Ryan. These guys, they don't have they don't have 2.5 ERAs. They're not, you know what I mean? They're not dominating.
Aaron Judge's biggest weakness is the changeup. It's the slow stuff, because his timing is built for the 95 plus.
So Ty Cobb, if we compare Ty Cobb in I think it was 1961, he was on a radio interview, and they asked him who the toughest pitchers that he faced, and he didn't name one specifically, but I think he did. It was a guy I wasn't familiar with, but he said, I've never feared the fast pitchers. I always feared those rinky dinks. I forget what he called them, dinky dinks or something. He feared the balls that came in slow and curving. So even going back to Ty Cobb, people struggle with that. What keeps you out of the major leagues as a hitter if you can't hit a curveball, right? Mm-hmm. It's like Serrano in the movie Major League.
Right, but even now, if you can't hit the curveball and it's a strikeout, so what? Because you can strike out 220 times.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that these fastball hitters, if the major league hitters see you enough, they're gonna kill you.
Yeah, I was looking at George Sisler's numbers. The guy didn't strike out more than 30 times in a season. That is like crazy for someone that could hit for a high average and rip doubles all over the place. Like only 30 times in a season. Like nowadays, no one, it can even, 60 to 75 is a low amount, I guess.
You got to be really Keeler. Keeler. Choke up on that bat. He struck out like 5 times the whole year.
Right.
Yeah, it was a different strategy back then. But, I get a little triggered when I hear all these people, like these pitchers like Bob Gibson, they wouldn't last today. They didn't throw hard. It's bullshit. It just is. Ask anybody. Willie Mays said he couldn't even see the ball come across the plate when Sandy Koufax pitched it. And those guys would throw at you
Right.
I sent you that interview with Mickey Mantle and Duke Snyder and Willie Mays talking about Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And just for anybody that doesn't know, it was funny because Duke Snyder said Don Drysdale was ordered to intentionally walk Frank Robinson, and he said, "Why waste 4 and hit him with the first pitch?" Like that's just what they did. They Mickey Mantle said that I think it was Mick. He said if Sandy Koufax was as mean as Don Drysdale, no one would have ever hit him because you couldn't dig in on him.
Right. Right. And then it said here that they're not even getting drafted if they throw 92 anymore. And
Yeah.
that's kind of sad because what did Greg Maddux throw? Or average 92, 93 miles
Yeah,
an
he
hour?
wouldn't even be in the bigs. But you know, the other thing that doesn't get talked about is that they changed where they clock the pitch from to make it look, you know, a little better too.
Uh-huh.
Because they used to clock it as a crossed home plate, and now they clock it when it leaves the hand.
Now, let me
Right.
ask you this. Now, Greg Maddux, fantastic pitcher, killed my Giants. But if he was pitching today, when they have that chart, you know, on TV and the scrutiny that the umpires are getting, how would he actually? He wouldn't nearly be as good. Because when I
That's
watched
another
him,
thing.
there would be this much outside constantly, and they'd just ring him up. What's that guy? The African American umpire, the big heavy set guy. I remember in the World Series or whatever.
He
But
fell
it's just
over.
not that. I remember Bonds because I was watching John. Bonds would always go, "What the hell was that?" You know, and it would be, you know, 6 inches outside. It's like, so I'm just
I
saying.
see some
nowadays,
bad umpiring.
more
I
scrutiny
get a little
nowadays.
riled up.
Eric Gregg, more scrutiny now on the umpires
Yeah.
to get it, even though they still get it wrong
Oh yeah.
than
I mean,
it was back then. So I think he'd still be good, great maybe,
well, every
but he would have
umpire.
a tougher time nowadays than what's going on.
Scott brought up a name right now, Arias. That guy, nobody wants him. He had a 1 WAR last year. Nobody wants him. Why? Because all he does is hit singles and
Right.
nothing else. And
Right.
nobody wants him. He's
He's a
considered
modern day
bad
Tony.
hitter by today's standard.
He's a modern day Tony Gwynn with a little less power maybe than Gwynn, but man, what a hitter!
He doesn't have was it much of an on base percentage because he doesn't walk a lot.
I disagree with the Rod Carew because if you go back and watch Rod Carew games, he hit a lot of doubles and triples into the gaps. Like they weren't home runs, but they were up against the wall. He hit with more power than I think people give him credit for.
Right. Well, his thing is that he doesn't walk like Rick said, and that's why his on base is almost the same as his average, which sucks because if he's not getting a hit, then he's an out. He just sucks. And to have him at leadoff when you can have someone that could hit a home run or get a double and really get a rally going, he's not that useful by today's standards, which is weird.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, on the right team with the right lineup, I think he'd do a lot more damage.
Yeah, Mike Petty's talking about Schwarber, how valuable he is leading off. Could you imagine?
I like him.
20, 30 years ago, seeing somebody like Schwarber.
Oh, they would have never let off. Yeah.
Oh,
they would have never let off.
That is crazy.
Hey, way back then, when the pandemic, I was watching all these World Series, the Dodgers, Duke Snyder bunny, bunny the guy over or whatever.
Remember?
Well, you look at Acuna. In the old days, he would have been a number 3 or number 5 hitter.
Right.
He wouldn't. That's not the typical. Like Albies would have probably been the leadoff hitter. A guy like that. Although he's kind of a perfect number 2 hitter in the old days.
Right. But then, like Scott is saying, he likes a runner on third. That he likes the guy who makes contact.
Yeah,
and there's something to be said for that. Other than the swing and miss,
put it in play.
Right, even putting it in play could an error could exist. And the look at Judge; he couldn't catch the ball.
Yeah,
look at that World Series game when they had all those errors. It started with hitting the ball, put it in play, let the defense make a play.
Exactly. exactly. And
I mean, it's better than striking out.
I'm still hurting from that. My God, thank you for opening up the wound.
Well, I just mean like we were always taught, get the ball into play. Good things can happen. You know,
Right.
if you're striking out, nothing good's going to happen.
Of course, of course. My gosh. Well, I guess as far as like today's game, I mean, I hate to crap on it. I still watch it, but I don't watch it from beginning to end like I used to. That like I just can't get invested into it minute by minute. It
You
sucks.
know, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, with modern sports, it almost always comes down to the very end. So, like a football game, it's not even worth watching unless it's your team. It's really not even worth watching until the fourth quarter because it almost always seems to come down to that last drive. In the NBA, you'll see a team winning by 30 at halftime, and it comes down to the last shot. It just blows my mind. Hockey, I can't believe how many times their team is down 3 goals in the third period and come back and win. Like you never used to see that
And
because they
even in the
score so much.
playoffs, baseball, so many last minute rallies and games
Yeah, that's what I'm
decided
saying.
at the end.
So there's really no reason to watch a game until the very end these days.
Right,
I'm
right.
not
It's
saying
a
all games. I'm not saying certainly there are some games that are dominated start to finish or whatever, but um,
it's a
there's a
totally
large
regional.
majority that come down to
It's
that
a
final.
regional sport, you know. I mean, 162 games. You're going to follow your team, but you're not going to sit there and watch two other teams play. You know, you will here and there, but it's totally
Right.
regional. Totally regional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I do miss kind of the old days. You know, they would have a game on TV. You know, like
Saturday
you
game
had
of the
Wednesday
week.
night hockey, you
Yeah.
had, you know, Monday night baseball, Monday night football, and everybody was watching the same games. Um, a lot of players got a lot of notoriety because that was the only game on. Everybody watched them. You know, now if it's a team I don't watch, I don't even know who these players are.
Yeah.
Uh, and in many ways, card collecting helps me learn who they are. I see that, you know, people want them. People are, you know, happy to get their cards or sharing with the value of them or whatever. Because you just don't, you know, unless you go out of your way, it's not that easy to see these games. I mean, hockey's never on, you know?
What's funny is like when we were growing up, like you had your names like Greg Jeffries or Jerome Walton, and the names that everyone's told you he's the one you want from that
Yeah.
set, and you just bought it. But nowadays, every game is on ESPN, YouTube, whatever. You see the highlights. So if someone has like a great game, suddenly his cards go up,
Yeah.
his spikes, and it's just one game.
Well, you're making me laugh because I'll be watching like Monday Night Football. I'm on eBay. I never saw this player before. He looks good. I'll pick up his rookie card.
Oh my gosh.
I can't tell you how many times I do that because I don't get to watch him all the time.
Yeah.
And I see somebody that looks really good. I just go ahead and get it. You know, it's $3 now. It might be 10 million next week. Who knows?
That happened to me like 3 years ago. I was watching a Spurs game and Derek White like was coming in for someone injured and when playing, and he had like a 25. He looked masterful. Like I was like, oh my God, why is this guy not starting? And then as soon as the guy gets healthy again, Derek White to the bench, it's like an abyss. Like you never hear about Derek White until he gets traded to the Celtics. And now but by that time, his cards never picked up steam. No matter how good Derek White is, his cards are very affordable.
Yeah. Some guys are just like that. You know, there are some guys that have that charisma where their hobby clout is probably above their playing clout. And there's other guys who their playing clout's way above their hobby clout. You know, it just boils down to who people like. I think a lot of that has to do with charisma.
Right.
There are a lot of players I recognize as being fantastic, but they just don't appeal to me to collect them, you know, in a big way.
And now Mike Petty's saying I need a Milton Kabumi, downtown and uptown.
There he goes.
And they came out with a new one. I forgot what it was. Somebody showed it to me. They came out with a new one that the manga. That's the new one now.
What is that?
They look like a comic, the Japanese art, like a comic, and they the player in that way, but it's like super short printed. So everyone is chasing those now. The manga cards. There was a Brett Favre brought up to me at the show. The thing was going for like $1,300 for a retired player. Imagine
Wow.
you get like Jaden Daniels or Mays or I can't even think of all the names right now, but the names, those manga cards are crazy right now.
Do you have any of the color splashes?
Now I ripped one recently for my friend that
You ripped
I
it
was
in
helping
half?
him rip boxes, and I ripped a Troy Palomalu black color
Ooh.
splash. I went nuts.
You didn't sell it to me?
I think he might still have it.
Oh man, that'd be
It's
awesome.
worth like $500. We looked
I
it
want to
up.
get. I want to get at least one. When did those start? 2017?
Yeah,
18?
probably.
I think 17.
Well, the new Prism product has them. So if you're lucky to rip one, you might get one.
I don't really rip anything anymore. It's just it's a loser's game. Might as well go to Vegas.
Are you serious about that Palomalu? You want me to reach out to my friend?
Well, I didn't know it was selling for 500.
He's
but
not
maybe.
going to pay that kind of money.
Come
$3.
on, man. What are you
$3.
talking about? It's Palomalu.
Well, let's see how nice it is. I haven't. I need to see it.
It has a curly hair relic sticking out of it.
Head and shoulders.
Yeah.
I do want to get a color
Troy.
splash. At least one.
Yeah, no, I don't chase those cards. I mean, they don't do much. I got a Saquon Barkley downtown, and it just graded a 10. You know what I did? I cracked out a 9.
Wait, I wasn't paying attention until I heard the 10. What is it? How much?
Someone sold me at a show downtown rookie Saquon Barkley.
Oh, I heard you. I was just joking.
No, so it was in a 9, and then I looked at the card and I was like, this card is clean. Like, I don't know why I got a 9. Cracked it out, it got a 10. The card
that proves you can't tell the difference. It proves it.
It
Otherwise,
proves
you
it
could never
because to
get a
my
10.
naked eye, without a loop or anything, I was like, why did this get a 9? It's
Yeah.
freaking sharp as all heck.
That's why I find it absurd. People will pay $7,000 more for a 10 over a 9 when you can crack and resubmit and get 10s at such a high rate.
And that card was worth like $450 for a 9. I haven't even looked up what the PSA 10 goes. I saw
$7,000.
PSA 10. I almost did cartwheels, especially after the year he had. That thing's probably worth a lot of money.
Absolute came out.
Man. Right?
Absolute Flipper saying sell it quick.
Flip that thing, man. It's not going to be any. They're going to go for any higher than that right now.
Get me a Babe Ruth strip card, right?
Yeah, I don't. It's hard, man. It's hard to believe he could have a better season than he had this year.
Yeah, you got to flip that sucker.
He's got to be in an all-time high.
Isn't like Tom Brady's cards? They took a big dip now that he's retired.
Well, not only that, but the card market went down too at the same time. So it's hard to say if it was just him.
Well,
but
Scott says,
out of sight, out of mind, right?
That's perfect.
10 looks better in the registry.
So they came out with these crystal cards in, I think, 17. And I wanted to get one. Same thing with the color splash. I want to at least get one. And I was choosing between Antonio Brown, who at the time was phenomenal and before he lost his mind, and Steph Curry. But I had so much Antonio Brown stuff, I decided to go with the Steph Curry. And it is a really cool card. It's like a crystal. It's all glass, not crystal. It's glass.
Oh, the mosaics?
It's called Absolute. I forget what it's called. It's from Absolute. Absolute something.
It looks like
it's a glass.
but it's etched.
It's etched. Yeah,
I know which one it is.
It's a cool looking card.
Yeah.
Now I think I got the 18. I got the second year they made it, but to me it's way nicer than the first one they made. It's like him coming up and to the hoop. It's pretty cool.
I gotta ask you a question now. Playoffs are starting up. Who you got going all the way? I guess Rick. I'll start with you.
Oh, God.
Your 49ers aren't in it. Who you got going?
I don't know. Buffalo's defense worries me. Kansas City, but I don't want to see Kansas City again. I don't think Kansas City. So I will go Buffalo.
Buffalo. How about the
Buffalo
Eagles?
against I hate Philadelphia too. So I'm going to say Buffalo's going to win it. How's that?
Over the field.
Over
I'll
the
tell you
field.
what, it's tough this year. It's hard to not pick Kansas City. I think Buffalo is playing unbelievable football this year, and Josh Allen's such a great quarterback. But don't rule out the Ravens. Ravens are peaking right now. Nobody's even coming close to beating them in the last few weeks.
Steelers are going to beat them.
I doubt that.
Play good. He doesn't play good against the Steelers.
Well, he did last game.
Derrick Henry has had a
and
monster
Philadelphia,
year.
yeah, they're peaking though. It's who's peaking. Like the Steelers suck. They're definitely not peaking. They're doing the opposite, and the Ravens are peaking. They'll get past us, but then you're looking at Philadelphia in the NFC. Philadelphia, Detroit could be a sleeper. Minnesota could be a sleeper. So them and the Eagles, I mean, there's some good teams. I don't remember this many good teams in the NFC at the same time. You have the Rams too, right? They could come out of, with the one game eliminate. You just never know. Somebody could really just come on.
So other than the Bills, it's like true parity.
Yeah, I think I be nice. It'd be nice to see. Be nice to see Detroit in the Super Bowl. I have to be honest.
Yeah,
I say Kansas City. I don't know. My gut tells me Philadelphia. Kansas City, Philadelphia.
If Kansas City three-peats, what does that do for Patrick Mahomes?
I don't know. His cards don't move much, even though he's such a fantastic quarterback and won Super Bowls. It's like it's kind of surprising.
It's almost like Tom Brady. Tom Brady hit a level there that he was just steady Eddie.
Yeah.
And then it went down a little bit when he went to Tampa, but then he wins the Super Bowl. So now it jumps back up.
I'll tell you, I don't follow the prices, but I do, read the auctions in my magazines and stuff. And I get a card ladder, email every day. And you see LeBron, Michael Jordan selling for the. I never see a whole lot of Mahomes. Every once in a while, but I don't see him on there like I do LeBron.
His autographs are pretty strong.
Yeah. Oh, I know, but they've been strong, right? What I'm saying is, I don't think they've gone up much.
No, they're steady.
Once they got way up there.
Well, what the thing is, as the hobby's like correcting and coming down per se, his cards are at least even. So that's a good thing, you could say.
People collect, they pay up for these rookies that haven't even proven themselves like they're going to be the next Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes could be the next Tom Brady, right? Like he has the best shot as of now to be that type of a quarterback. So with a lot of Super Bowls. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited for the playoffs. It's always great with football because it's elimination every game. So it's always great.
Yeah, and anybody can have a bad game and anybody can have a great game, right? In the NFL, any given Sunday. So that comes into it. Sometimes like your team you think is going to win. Like if Kansas City gets knocked off in their first playoff game, that opens the door to all other teams go in there that you wouldn't expect, right? Stuff like that happens.
Yeah. Well, guys, if there's anything else, we're at like an hour and a half here. Is there anything else you want to touch on?
I'm good.
We're good. Hobby Hump Day done. New Year's in. We're sorry we didn't like do any for like a month almost, right? We went like 3 weeks without a Hobby Hump Day.
Yeah.
But the holidays really, took our schedule out of whack. And, we're
family comes first, right?
Yeah, obviously. But we're going to try to make it next week. But thank you for jumping on. Everyone that jumped on. There were a lot of people who chimed in and commented. Thank you for showing up. Like I see Orlando, I see Scott, Reese and D, Mike Petty, so many people. Even Dylan earlier was on.
Nice.
But yeah, thank you for
Thanks,
joining
guys.
us. Yeah, I guess we'll try to make it for next week. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
And